Sophie McNeil.
Break, I had the absolute privilege of visiting the beautiful Kimberley, travelling to Broome, the Martuwarra, Kununurra and to Wyndham. And right now across the Kimberley, locals, their communities and traditional owners are under siege. They are under siege from massive multinational corporations obsessed with trying to destroy this precious place to make a quick buck. And they're under siege from a Labor government who seemingly is intent on selling them out and this stunning country to the highest bidder. It's an onslaught. There's no other way to describe it. We've got the Premier backing a Texan fracking company. In the West Kimberley, we've got billionaire Gina Rinehart, who wants to take 325 billion litres of water at zero cost from the Martuwarra River for a massive industrial farm. There's a colossal new lead mine that's been approved on the outskirts of Kununurra, a new proposal to build a fluorite and vanadium mine on the banks of the Dunham River near El Questro. We've got the Premier gunning for Woodside to build the largest new gas field in the Southern Hemisphere off the coast of Broome to turn that into a FIFO town. And now we have Dutch multinational company Boskalis, who've been recommended for approval by the EPA to take 70 million cubic metres of sand from the pristine Cambridge Gulf. Now, this seabed mining project will absolutely blow your mind, President, and every person I've talked to about this cannot believe it. Last November, Dutch company Boskalis was given conditional approval by the WA EPA to dredge the stunning Cambridge Gulf, just near Wyndham there. So 70 million cubic metres of sand, that's the equivalent of 44 Optus stadiums filled to the brim. 44 Optus stadiums of sand. That's what the WA EPA approved to be taken from this stunning marine ecosystem, home to endangered marine life, like freshwater sawfish, species like snub-fin dolphins, potentially the cutest animal in the whole world. It's a vital nesting area for threatened flatback turtles. That's right next to this potential seabed mining area. Critical breeding ground for wild barramundi. But none of this concerned the so-called WA Environmental Protection Agency. And thanks to this government's gutting of environmental laws, none of that mattered to the WA EPA, which really should stand for every project approved, because there is certainly no environmental protection happening right now in this state under that agency. And what will this 70 million cubic metres of sand be used for, this 44 Optus stadiums of sand? It is all for export, every last bit of it. The sand's not even coming on shore. It's going to be put straight on the boat and shipped to Asia. So those flatback turtles, those threatened turtles, which will potentially become mincemeat in the operations of this seabed mining, all of that risk, it's all for use in construction in Asia for this massive Dutch company, Boskalis. And why have they decided to target our beautiful Kimberley? Of all the places in the world this billion-dollar company could have picked, well, one of the reasons is because this kind of seabed mining is banned in the Northern Territory. It was seen as so risky, the environmental consequences so concerning, the Northern Territory government banned it. And they are not known for their regard for environmental protection, those guys, but they banned it because of how risky it is. The environmental consequences so concerning. They didn't want the bulldozing of the seafloor in the NT, the potential harm to coral reefs, mangroves, seagrass, the unknown impacts on river channels, river banks. No, the NT said, no, this is too risky. But here in Western Australia, a mere 70 kilometres from the NT border at the Cambridge Gulf, we've rolled out the red carpet to this billion-dollar Dutch multinational company. They pinpointed this pristine part of our coast, calculated that they could make massive profits, and the WA EPA waved them through. And Boskalis has a super dodgy history, this company. They were taken to court 5 years ago by Indonesian fishermen after their sand dredging operations in Sulawesi caused coastal damage. They faced sustained protests in the Philippines after their destructive dredging destroyed local fisheries there. In the Maldives, locals tried to sue them after massive sediment blooms from Boskalis operations choked fragile coral reefs. This company does not give a rat's about the environment, not a rat's. And you know what? The community up there, they didn't even know this was going ahead until it was approved by the WA EPA. The first that most people in Wyndham and Kununurra learned about it was when it was approved, when the ABC reported that the WA EPA had given it conditional approval. There was zero consultation with local communities. And I'd like to give a massive shout out to the Ord River and Cambridge Gulf Protection Group for their incredible work informing the community about what's really going on, because it sure as hell wasn't the local member who told them what was happening there, what Boskalis was up to. And Boskalis, they've also implied they have the support of the traditional owners in that area. But after going there and meeting them myself, I discovered this is completely misleading. There is in no way, shape or form any kind of free, prior or informed consent around this project. Zero. This is an obligation that this government is obliged to uphold under international law as a signatory to the UN Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People. The only information, though, that traditional owners have been given about the potential impacts of this devastating project is from dodgy old Boskalis themselves. Boskalis gives you the information, tells you there's no risks. Well, no, you can't trust them. And I quote Ronnie Morgan, the chairperson of the Balangara Aboriginal Corporation, who told me, "We never agreed to anything. The only information we have is from Boskalis. We would like funding for our own independent research before we make a decision on this project. We feel like our hands are tied behind our back." So how is that free, prior and informed consent? No shape or form. And how on earth does a dodgy Dutch multinational have more rights in this state than traditional owners or local communities? That's right, there's nothing more, though, that WA Labor loves than letting massive companies screw over our environment while they make massive profits and we get the crumbs. So this project right now is on the desk of the Environment Minister, the Honourable Matthew Swinburne, right now. And right now he is choosing between a massive multinational Dutch company or the Kimberley community. That's the choice he's making. And boy, if he does choose to approve this project, it will be an absolute environmental crime. A crime that will sit firmly at this government's feet, at his feet. It will be his legacy, because I can guarantee you this will not be the last project of its kind in the Kimberley. Because if Minister Swinburne chooses this Dutch company over the people of the Kimberley, chooses to allow them to take 70 million cubic metres of sand, 44 Optus stadiums filled to the brim of sand, purely all for export to Asia, what we'll do, that will open up the door to seabed mining across the Kimberley. This will not be the first project of its kind. So if the Cook Labor government gives this the tick, gives this the green light, there will be projects like this across the stunning Kimberley. And Boskalis holds other seabed mining leases right now in their hot little hands. But the community up there, they will not stand by if this government approves it. And it is so alarming to see that this government appears hell-bent on turning the precious Kimberley into the next Pilbara. Who needs the Libs when we have a Labor government like this? Honestly. You know, how can you be a party of the people or the workers or the community when you're just working on behalf of some of the world's most powerful corporations and this state's richest people? That's what breaks people's trust in government, and we're actually seeing the consequences of that right now. And that is why we are seeing the major parties are in the position that they are in right now. People are abandoning the major parties because they've lost their trust in government. Because the voices of community seemingly don't matter. That if you live in Wyndham or Kununurra, if you're a traditional owner up there, that a Dutch company has more rights than you do, has more voice, more power in this state. So this is the Cook Labor government's chance to try and restore some trust in government that we see is being lost, because this project should not proceed. The minister must block this project from going ahead. It should not get approval by the Cook Labor government. There is zero benefit to the community, absolutely zero. All of the sand goes overseas. The ships don't even come on shore. It's all just for construction in Asia. The profits go overseas, everything. There's zero benefit to the community. So the community is begging this government to say no to the Boskalis seabed mining project. Follow the lead of the NT government. Not often I'd say this in this chamber, but we have to look at what they've done there in the territory. They've said it's too risky, it can't proceed. Why should the Kimberley, the stunning, pristine Kimberley, be the guinea pig, the absolute guinea pig for these kind of seabed mining operations? So Boskalis should not be allowed to screw the Kimberley and the community in this way. It must be blocked. And the minister should not approve the destruction of the Cambridge Gulf. Thank you, President.